Greetings, comrades, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Crisis in the Kremlin. Last episode we went over various values and all sorts of little things, so if you want to check that out, please do. And we're gonna just go on, click this, and see what next we have to go through. Okay, we came to power. Now we understand that there are only a few people with certain reformist views. We must change it. The crucial step is coming. Your step, you can maintain a young and possibly progressive neo-communist party of the Soviet Union. You can see release Tarasov from a psychiatric hospital. You can also return Yakovlev or Kozapalov. Let's see, oppose the invasion of Czechoslovakia and its close friendly ties with the British monarchy. Reinstatement of Molotov Party. He was condemned for Stalinism. I think I know who we're gonna go ahead and bring back in. Future counter-revolution in the party. Very true. Very, very true. Alright. We're gonna go ahead and return Kasolopov? I think that's how it's pronounced at least. The main editor of the Communist magazine was included in the new Politburo staff, and along with it, under his protection, Malenkov and Kaganovich were rehabilitated with giving their party cards back. Once again, made by a Russian company. The English translation is mostly fine, but there are little hiccups here and there. He's already sent you a letter in which he suggests to rehabilitate the anti-party group as a thing, to use Stalinism against growing reformism in the party, and to cancel envelopes for party officials. Well, we already cancelled most envelopes for at least a couple of groups. We're definitely stomping out reformism. So, now we have a little more profit. I don't think that was from the actual event, but let's go ahead. And we will actually put it into salaries for officials. And the reason why is that we desperately need political power. Alright, let's see. Second phase of the country, Comrade General Secretary. Now, when you have climbed to power, you need to appoint a unformal second person in the country. Should be informal, but The Secretary of Ideology would be your de facto undersecretary and the man who would maintain your policy on ideological level. There are quite a few variants, and all of them can influence on our country's life. Yeah. So, obviously, with what we're going for, we're gonna want Romanov. And as I said before, I believe this Romanov was the one who was a general back all the way in World War II, and possibly even before that. I at least am aware that one Romanov was, I believe, a tank commander. So let's see. Romanov, who had been put forward by Andropov, like Ligovich, Gorbachev, Abalkin, and others, was administering Leningrad with a firm hand and greatly raised the city economy and development, provided the growth of welfare. Now, when he has become the undersecretary, he's realizing his stringent, pragmatic policy. Very good. So we're close. Right now, what we want more than anything else is to be able to open the foreign ministry, then change it to mutual aid between allies. Quickly, let's do a check through disapproval levels. The only country we're probably going to lose is Sudan, which is, bad, but we can afford one loss. So the SDI. It's proclaimed by Ronald Reagan as a long-term research and development program. In our military specialist opinion, more precise name of the program would be Strategic Initiative Defense, i.e. defense supposedly executing of independent aggressive actions up to attack. Development do not stop, and the program is seriously financed. We no longer sit idly. So, I think that going with our general being against the West, but not directly against the West, we are just going to announce the counter program to this. If the West continues the creation of SDI, Soviet Union will do anything to locate our weapons in space. Foreign media had a bad reaction to the new Soviet threat, as is to be expected. So we're giving more things. Oh, we can actually open the ministry now. And we need just a few more power. Ooh, the private advisors exist to deal with our competitors, who try to prevent our rise to power and try to further disturb our action in order to strengthen their own position, discredit us, and usurp our position. We need to show our power. We can't let them succeed. So we already have Romanov as our second in command, so we don't want to lead him against him. Now, if you did watch the second episode, you'll know that Gromyko is the single most influential member of the party. As I said, he is very, how should I put it? I guess elderly, in the sense that he has had many years of experience in the party, and so he's widely respected. So we're gonna go ahead and try to take him down, Peg. Now, when we have become the most influential person of the USSR political arena, we can do whatever we want. Their comrades were crushed and removed from power. As for our main opponent, we are preparing his retirement. That tanked our political power, which is just awful. But, such is life. So the anti-alcohol campaign. The Supreme Soviet, particularly one of its most prominent members, Comrade Ligachev, is offering us to launch an anti-alcohol campaign, because lots of our citizens are addicted to alcohol that hurts the national economy and negatively influences the medical situation. What's your decision? So, we could refuse his offer, but alcoholism was, even saying that wasn't as much of a stereotype as the West pointed out as, it was still a huge problem in the Soviet Union. Now, outright prohibition is bad, and the reason being is that if we were to just prohibit it, then it would go to illegal sides of things. Alcohol isn't actually that hard to produce, just like most drugs. Like, when you really come down to it, alcohol could definitely be made just in somebody's house, and so we want to regulate it. The only way to regulate it is to have it be legal. We could have an anti-alcohol campaign, which is tempting, but I think that since he did say that it's hurting the national economy, what we should instead do is increase the prices of alcohol. Because we control the industry, that means that we will get more money from the alcoholics. Which is bad, but it also means that over time, hopefully, it'll disincentivize alcohol. So, let's see what happens. The increase in prices, an extension of Brezhnev's position, creating a lot of new jokes, but didn't create any problems. People started drinking a little less, but the profit has increased. It has increased by a whole lot, jeez. So let's see, we have 100 million rubles, I believe. Once again, increased service industry. And let's check on the ecology. Alright, it's a little worse, so we're going to go ahead up at just 150. And we're also going to upgrade computerization to 100. Now, as you can see, the right-wing loyalty is extremely low. And because of that, we're probably going to want to start supporting Stalinists right away, because they are considered left-wing, as might be expected. So, if we can get them to be the majority, and even 100%, then we effectively don't have to worry about what the right-wing loyalty says. So here we have the campaign against racism. An urgent message from our Minister of Foreign Affairs. The USA has put economic sanctions on the South African Republic, which still pursues a policy of racial segregation. Should they interfere in other countries' affairs? All the world is waiting for a government's reaction. The Soviet Union, without a doubt, is heavily anti-racism and was regarded by several colored people who did go over there as to be a shining example of how to not be racist, because back in America, obviously, they were segregated, they were discriminated against. When they went to the Soviet Union, people just treated them like a person. So we're going to join the sanctions. After we had joined sanctions against South Africa, the apartheid regime started to fall. Then their new government declared political amnesty and held free elections. Very nice. As expected, Sudan is now a bourgeoisie puppet. Disapproval level is up to 15 everywhere. Pretty bad, but oh well. We'll take care of it once it gets over 20. Congress of South African Trade Unions, including 21 trade unions, has been founded recently. This is the largest organization of trade unions in South Africa, and this fact gives us a very good chance to increase our influence on the continent. We're definitely pro-union, so we're going to just provide them with full support. During the increased support from our side and Western sanctions, as well as a substantial increase in funding additional work with the government officials, the African National Congress and the communist movement was allowed. Politicians of the left-wing coalitions were forgiven, although the opposition groups laid down their arms, turning to peaceful struggle. In the upcoming elections, it is expected the victory of the communist coalition led by APK. I don't really know much about South African politics, so I don't know what APK stands for. But now, as we can see, these are one of the special nations where they don't have a disapproval level, but because of the choices we had in the events, providing them full support, we end up inviting them and getting them pro-Soviet. That's very nice for us. Now, we do have a negative finance right now. The game's kind of weird about it. What that means is that our gold reserve will decrease by whatever the lack of budget is. It should be that reserve just increases and decreases every month based on how much, or I guess not every month, but every turn, based on how much of a reserve we have, but oh well. Oh, there's a new level threat. Okay, what do we want to do? We could say that they are the main threat, which will lower the DEFCON level and bring nuclear war much closer to us, or we could begin the détente. Now, the détente means that, well, what the actual term would mean is that we make great compromises with them, but in actuality, how it's done in the game is that we just lose 50 budget, and I'm not sure if we lose political power, but we definitely can't have that right now. They are the main threat. Safety of our own lives worries almost everybody now. So our political power actually went down a little. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything we can do with agriculture. I think we're going to do unsuitable lands development, because then we can hopefully have agriculture go even higher. And we are going to do final technology researching, because we want very desperately to have more soldiers in the army. And I think, well, let's just do one more. De-Khrushchevization. Not long before his death, Comrade Chernenko has begun preparations to restore Stalin's cult of personality and to accuse Khrushchev of being guilty of de-Stalinization of the party. At the time of his death, the party had already rehabilitated some of Stalin's close advisors, for example, Comrade Molotov. Will we continue this project? Yes, full restoration of the cult of personality. Because Khrushchev really did demonize Stalin more than it could possibly, more than was worthwhile. Stalin did make mistakes, and terrible things happened under Stalin, but most of it wasn't directly because of him. And if you really look at what he did for the country and how he brought it out from extreme literacy, extreme poverty, and made it into one of the world's greatest superpowers, I think that's worthwhile to at least have him revered as much as, say, George Washington here in the United States. So rehabilitation of the anti-party group was begun. Khrushchev was accused of the departure from collectivist management principles. Stalin again appeared in textbooks as a great Soviet ruler who rebuilt the country after the fall of the empire, civil war and World War II by organizing great industrialization and raising quality of life, education, and raising the birth rate. Purged. Yezhkov and Yagoda were called responsible for purges, and Tukhanevsky was found guilty of the first military defeats of 1941. Then Lavrenti Beria was rehabilitated too. The West has already condemned it, as is to be expected. Okay guys, this video is a bit longer than the other ones. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Hopefully some of you have watched through this. I'm extremely excited to continue with this and see what happens. And so I hope that you too will join in the next video. See ya.